And I think we are live, guys. Yes, indeed we are. Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. My name is John Slop, and today we're taking a listen to some Yes, dude, tales from topographic oceans. I'm so very excited to continue our Yes journey, dude. It's been a little bit since we've done any Yes. Dude, I believe it's been a few months, if that, dude. Uh, we can actually look at when our last, I think it was close to the edge, right? Close to the edge. October 14th, dude. October, November, December, January, February, March, dude. Been almost half a year, dude. Been almost half a year since we last listened to some Yes. Gosh, the time just passes by, dude. This whole year is starting to just go by too fast, dude. Easter's tomorrow. It was just Christmas yesterday. Yo, Tammy, welcome. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us, dude. Toshiba, welcome. This is a big one, yes, dude. I'm excited as well. Yo, what's up, Partridge Family 2112? That's Apollo. Welcome, everybody. Oh, I'm doing fantastic, Tammy. I slept well. I was under the weather a little bit yesterday, but now I'm feeling completely fine. I don't know what it was. I probably ate something, had a headache, and like upset stomach for the whole day. But now it's all good, dude. It's all good. I hope you all are feeling all right. Having a good weekend so far, guys. It is so crazy. Like, it rained last night, and earlier today I heard thunder, dude, outside, but it's like, it's blue. The sky is blue. There's no clouds. What the heck? Crazy. Well, glad of everybody to be hanging out here, guys. Really appreciate you. Let's get up the wiki for this album, and then we'll start reading. Give me a second. You say it's raining here in San Diego County? Oh, okay. Yep, it's starting to pour in some places, dude. Here's Southern California's having a bit of a over rain situation. But welcome, everybody. Really glad to have y'all here. Let's just start by reading some of the wiki, dudes. Tales from Topographic Oceans is the 6th studio album by English progressive rock band Yes, released on December 7th, 1973 by Atlantic Records. It is their first studio album to feature drummer Alan White, who had replaced Bill Bruford the previous year. Frontman John Anderson devised its concept during the Close to the Edge tour, when he read a footnote in Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda that describes 4 bodies of Hindu texts about a specific field of knowledge, collectively named Shastras. And they're named Shruti, Smriti, Puranas, and Tantras. After pitching the idea to guitarist Steve Howe, the pair spent the rest of the tour developing an outline of the album's musical themes and lyrics. Okay, gotcha. So heavily inspired by Hindu texts and spiritualism. Got it, dude. Rehearsals lasted for 2 months in London, during which the band decided to produce a double album containing 4 side-long tracks based on each text, ranging between 18 and 21 minutes. Keyboard Rick Wakeman was critical of the concept and felt unable to contribute to the more experimental music that was being produced to fit a double album, and distanced himself from the group. Okay, so Rick Wakeman was like, I'm not into this complicated stuff, dudes. You guys can do this stuff on your own. I'm just gonna go hang out by myself. Yes, decided against recording in the countryside in order to use Britain's first 24-track machine at Morgan Studios, where they decorated the studio to resemble a farm. They decorated the studio to resemble a farm. Why, dude? Roger Dean incorporated suggestions from the band into the album's cover art, which inspired his designs for the stage used on its tour. Okay, dude, so let's take a look at that album cover. Yes, Tales from Topographic Oceans album. Okay, so open a new tab. Let's make sure you can see this one. This is the album cover here. It looks like we're on like some kind of mysterious desert planet, but with a little sporadic oases, dude. This is interesting. Reminds me a little bit of like the moon or something. Wow, and dude, for those not aware, I'm wearing the Yes shirt. So of course we're getting down on some Yes today, guys. It's special. All right, so yeah, we have our Yes shirt, and we let's continue reading the wiki, dude. Tales from Topographic Oceans received mixed reviews upon release and became a symbol of the perceived excesses of progressive rock, but earned a more positive reception in later years. It was a commercial success, becoming the first UK album to be certified gold, based solely on pre-orders, and spent 2 weeks at #1. Dude, whoa. Wow, in 73, people were heavily pre-ordering this, dude. They could not wait for this album, dude. If I was alive in 73, I probably would have pre-ordered this album too, right? Yes toured the album for 5 months across Europe and North America, the first half of which featured the entire album performed live. Wakeman, who was against playing the whole album, quit the band at its conclusion to continue his solo career. Dude, Rick Wakeman was like done with this whole thing. Wow, dude, we lost a powerhouse of a keyboardist, dude. Rick Wakeman is like, I'm done. Peace, dude. In 2003, the album was remastered with previously unreleased tracks and an edited, and in addition with new stereo and 5.1 surround sound mixes by Steven Wilson, with additional bonus tracks followed in 2016. Gotcha, dude. Steven Wilson, he's all over the place, dudes. Shout out to Steven Wilson. Porcupine Tree, dude. All right, dude. Well, I think that's kind of enough to get started. Let me know if any other information. And if you haven't checked out our Close to the Edge album, dude, album reaction, it's on Patreon. So, dude, let's see what this album is like, dude, being inspired by Hindu texts. Wow, there's a lot more information to read, but I think we'll just get started on this. So let's open up the Spotify. Dude, we're gonna find this song, or find this album on Spotify so we get the best quality. Yes, Tales from Topographic Oceans. All right, folks. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 20-minute tracks. You're basically 20-minute tracks, right? On average, they're all about 20 minutes. So I'm so very excited, guys. Thanks for joining. What do we have here? The first one up, dude. The Revealing Science of God. Parentheses, Dance of the Dawn. Wow, dude. Heavy stuff. All right. Wow, so yeah, there's a lot of information we did not read on the wiki. Maybe we'll check back in after we're done listening to the album, and we'll read the aftermath, tour and aftermath, Wakeman's departure, and let's just shout out the entire crew, dude. John Anderson, Steve Howe, Chris Squire, Rick Wakeman, Alan White, dude. Shout out to Bill Bruford. Well, we're going to miss you, dude, and I'm going to miss you, Rick. our last album with Rick. Gotcha. Well, guys, appreciate you. Let's take a hit and jump on into this one, guys. Yo, Fords, welcome. All right, and already evening, all ready to sail the seas. Tales from Topographic Oceans. Still not sure what the album title is meaning, but I'm excited. I'm expecting to be here for about 3.5 hours, guys. So get cozy, get comfy, get your snacks ready. This is a 2-hour album, dude. Oh, wait a second. Okay. Actually, it seems like we have a couple extra tracks. Hold on. Previously unissued. Hold on. What's the official track listing here? Bonus tracks from 2000. Okay, we'll skip the bonus tracks, right? We'll skip the bonus tracks. We'll just do the 1, 2, 3, 4 tracks here. Because it seems like there's a couple bonus tracks that were added into the 2003 remastered Dance of the Dawn, which seems to be just an alternative title to our first track we're going to be listening to, and then Giants Under the Sun. They're both studio run-throughs, which I'm thinking might be just demo versions of the songs. I'm not sure what studio run-through means exactly, but let me know what you guys think. And let's take a cut. Let's get nice and toasty, guys, before jumping on into this one. The Revealing Science of God. And jumping on into it, dude.
Chased amid fusions of wonder, in moments hardly seem forgotten. Colored in pastures of chance, dancing leaves cast spells of challenge. Amused but real in thought, we fled from the sea. Dawn of thought transferred through moments of days under searching gut, revealing corridors of time, provoking memories, disjointed but with purpose. Craving penetrations of the links with the self-instructors, sharp and tender love, as we took to the air, a picture of despair. Dawn of our power, we endlessly descending as fast as misused expression, as only to teach us to reveal passion, chasing latent corners, and we dance from the ocean. Dawn of love set within us, colors of awakening among the many want to follow, only to
Yes, dude. Okay, okay. Oh. Okay, okay, okay. Quick pause, dude. Quick first thoughts. Oh, they're not playing by any rules here, dude. Yeah, they're just everything here just seems to be just so unique. They're creating their own. They're carving their own path here, dude. This is unlike anything I've ever heard. This is the most out there, most mystical, most spacey, most adventurous I've heard. Yes, yet, dude. What the heck? Wow. Wow. Dude, Yes and Rush are both going through a certain phase at this point in their lives. Like, incorporating so much synth, incorporating just a lot of cool stuff, dude. Not even trying to make a pop sound here at all. Okay. Wow. Okay, let's back it up. Get back into this, dude. How about those vocals at the beginning, too? Very chant-like. Wild. Oh, the bass, too.
Talk to the sunlight corner. Soft summer over distant smile.
Whoa.
For a moment, when our world had filled the skies, magic turned our eyes to feast on the treasure set for our strange What happened to wonders we once knew so well? If we forget what happened, surely we can tell. We must have waited all our lives for
What? What? Oh. Okay. One last pause, dude. Okay, not one last pause, but just one pause, dude. Lots of symbolism with nature here. I feel really like this song is trying to express a deeper connection to life. Like, it seems John Anderson really got inspired by this Hindu spiritualism, this religion, dude. And seems like he's having a great time with it, dude. He's finding himself, he's finding reasons, dude, with beautiful imagery. Like, I'm not following every single moment or every single line of this, dude, but it's beautiful imagery here. Crowded through the curtains of liquid into sun, dude, and for a moment when our world had filled the skies, magic turned our eyes. I don't know, right? It's a bit esoteric, but to me it's him figuring out the beauty of the world, dude. The beauty of magic. Interesting, dude. And then we switched up the whole vibe, dude. We're in a completely different song now. It feels a little bit like a roundabout, dude. This is sick. All right, getting back into this. The Revealing Science of God. Dance of the Dawn by Yes. Wrecked. Oh. Okay. Steve. Oh. Wow.
And through the rhythm, of moving slowly, sent through the rhythm, work out the story, move over glory to songs of old righteous past. Young Christians see it from the beginning. Old people feel it. That's what they're saying. Move over glory to songs of old righteous
Wow. Wow.
They move fast to tell me, but I just can't believe they really mean to. Someone to tell you a course towards a universal season. Getting over overhanging trees, let them rent the forest. They might stand and leave them clearly to behold. Getting over wars we do not need, we join the movement suffers. Call out all our memories clearly to behold. We need love. Above the open is our only stand with it all our lives. More days with us stand with it all our lives. Was that this moment? Says the future, but only through him we know. Same flower rainbows, a piece of heart chase flowers of the dark and light of songs to follow and show all we feel for and know all. That's right. You seekers of the truth, accepting that reasons will relive and breathe and hope and chase and love for you and you and you.
Wow, dudes. First song from Tales from Topographic Oceans Down, dude. Wow, a powerhouse of a song. So many cool riffs, so many cool segments, dude. We went through the whole spectrum of what can even be part of a song, dude. Soft moments, lighthearted moments, tough moments, dude. Energetic moments. Yeah, but dude, these lyrics are crazy. You know, if you didn't know any of the context of what inspired this song, you probably would still have maybe like 12% understanding of what these lyrics are trying to say, dude. I am personally not a fan of this esoteric expression, dude. No idea what John Anderson is singing here, dude. It's a beautiful song. Beautiful song. I can understand why Rick Wakeman wasn't a fan of this stuff. It's hard, dude. Imagine memorizing this, dude. This is crazy. This is a crazy song. But yeah, lots of cool moments, dude. I just think the weak part of this is the lyrics. Like, I get it, dude. John Anderson's on something right now. He's going through some existential life moments, and the band's trying to support him. They're being so supportive. But this is so out there, dude. I would not be surprised if it's like, if this just did not resonate with people, dude. It's like enjoying a painting. You don't have to know what the painter was thinking to enjoy the art. If that's how you approach it, that's cool, dude. I like to know what the intention of the artist is, like forming my own interpretation. It's not fun for me. I like to know what the actual artist was thinking. So let's go over to genius.com, dude. And I think paintings are a bit different, dude. It's more of a visual exercise where, you can actually interpret things your own way, because, artists don't really write notes or have lyrics to their paintings, so genius, yes. The revealing science of God lyrics. All right, so lead singer John Anderson based the lyrics of these songs part of the Paramahansa Yogananda's autobiography of a yogi. He was the Indian guru. He went to the U.S., taught Eastern spirituality, self-realization techniques. Yeah, this song is just so full of of that kind of vibe, dude. The passage in the book describes the 4-part Shastric scriptures, texts which not only take care of religion and social life, but also of medicine, music, art, and architecture. The song is about the dawn of light, thought, our power, and of love, to the creation and beginning, all of the good things which bring happiness to our lives. That these wonderful forces seem to have been lost by the human race through their own negligence. Gotcha, dude. I did get a little bit of social commentary, dude. This song runs 20 minutes. Steve Howe said that in its original form, the song lasted 28 minutes, dude. They had to make cuts just so that it would fit on vinyl. He says that he and John Anderson considered this song the accessible part of the album. Oh, wow. So this is like, if this is the most accessible song, then I am very, very interested to see what's coming up, dude. Another way to look at it is, I want to know the intent of the artist, but its meaning isn't limited to that. I guess. I mean, that's the person who made it. So, like, I would take their word over what it means over anybody else. Of course, you can have your own interpretation, dude, but I mean, it's just that. You're your own. Have fun with that. Have fun with your own interpretation. I like respecting the author's intent, you know? If I was an author, I would love for people to wonder what I truly meant by my words. But like I said, that's just me. All right, well, we're going to move on to the next song, dude. The Remembering. Hi, The Memory is the name of this song. Let's jump on into it, dude. Okay, yeah, the song's pretty chill so far. And that's kind of all I'm getting from it. It's the same kind of lyrical style. It's just thought after thought after thought, not really connecting them. Um, it's lovely. It's relaxing.
Fleeting lies with you. Wait all the more, regard your past. The school gates remind us of our class. Chase all confusion away with us.
All right, guys, that was the Remembering by Yes. Dude, what's the full title? The Remembering High the Memory. Dude, make sure I'm not muted yet. We're good, dude. Don't want to make that mistake. Dude, the song was a little tough at the beginning, dude. It was really chill. Like, so chill that I was getting a little antsy, dude. Waiting for something to happen. That picked up, dude. Something did happen towards the last about third of the song. It started to pick up, dude. Yeah, the song's crazy. Yeah, this song has had some of the coolest keyboard moments, synth moments, guitar moments, dude, I've ever heard. yeah, like I had trouble at the beginning, right? But dude, the song really picked itself up. Still, the lyrics don't really matter to me at all. A little bit of background, dude. I'm not religious or spiritual at all, so I'm already a little disconnected from like the meaning of all of these songs, dude. So, you know, like I get it. So self empowerment, dude. Just I need John Anderson to come down to earth a little bit here, dude. I need to get something from these lyrics personally. Yeah, Steve Howe did a great job with the guitars on this track. Dude, let's go to Genius. Yes, Genius, the remembering. Hi, the memory. Anything about this track, dude? Try to make sure each of them had integral parts. Rick Wakeman's extensive keyboard passages throughout the track represent the endless sea of the mind. Unfortunately, Rick Wakeman was displeased with the elaborate production of the album and said that while Anderson and Howe obsessed over every little detail during the recording, he spent most of his time playing darts. On the subsequent tour, Wake bluntly showed his distaste for the Tales by eating curry on stage while the rest of the band performed tracks from the album. Wow, he was done, dude. He was fed up. He soon left the band to pursue a solo career and was replaced by Patrick Moraz for the follow-up album, Relayer. Whoa, okay. So I have a little bit of consistency lyrically here. Relayer, we just got done reading something about Relayer in the last album, or this last song. Gotcha, dude. Rick Wakeman's doing amazing stuff. So I'm glad he's putting forth like effort still. You can tell he's putting forth effort into his sections. The bass nice and thick, dude. It sounds like Rush a lot of the time too. Some of the craziest instrumentals I've ever heard from this song, dude. This one is even more like ends of the spectrum extremely than the last song. Did that make sense? All right. So getting into the next one, dude. The Ancient Giants Under the Sun. Already halfway through this, dude. It's crazy. We're already an hour into here, dude. You said the next cut is even weirder, dude. I'm excited, honestly. I want to see how weird they can get. Like, whether or not I'm feeling a certain section, I still appreciate the fact that this is 1973, dude. This is insane, right? For 73, like, this is a novel, right? This is like a novel in music form, and I would be on top of this in 73, dude. And, some of this might be attributed to the remaster from 2003, but still, it sounds crazy. Sounds great. Okay, getting into the next one, dude. The Ancient Giants Under the Sea, Under the Sun. Oh. What the heck? Oh. Okay. Whoa. Dude, getting a little super proggy here. Reminds me of maybe something Frank Zappa would like to do. This is crazy. I hear like a marimba or a xylophone working in the background too. Okay, dude. Well, getting into something crazier. And that guitar is just wailing in the background, dude. This is maybe the Mind Sea going into a storm. I have no idea. The ancient giants under the sun, getting back into it.
So deep, so in love. 내 곁에 아낀 선물에 tornaci vorrei lungaia Surya il shamsi
Oh, dude. Quick pause, quick pause. Oh, this one sounds crazy, dude. I love all the Middle Eastern inspiration, dude. The different instruments we're getting here, the different percussion. I hear some like, that might be synth, right? Those, it sounds like pipes, almost like the hoo sound we just got. Lots of different words used in the lyrics to mean sun, dude. Sol, Dup is the Hindi word for sunlight, heat of the sun. Ilios, Greek name for the sun. Nyatit, when John is like, Natit akin sali, the weird chanting kind of lyrics, dude. He's naming different, like so many different, the Aztec god that represents the sun, Curax, the Uyghur name for the sun, or maybe the Somali name for the sun, Korax. Gunis, Turkish word meaning the sun. This song is cool. You know, he does his research, dude. Dun, 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 dun. This song's crazy. Otherworldly, nice. Toshiba describes it perfectly. The way they can go from one time signature to another so smoothly is wild, right? Yes. Always catches me off guard. Dun, 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 dun. We're barely, not even halfway through the song, so let's get back into this, dude. We're about to finish up the ancient part of the song. Giants under the sea. Under the sun. Why do I keep saying sea?
tornaci vorrei lungaia
Okay, okay. I thought that was those were like pipes. No, that sounds more like a strumming instrument, like a guitar or maybe a ukulele-ish sound, dude. Not sure. What do you think that sound is? So real quick, it might be a lute. I read on Wiki, Steve Howe used an electric sitar and a lute on this album. Okay, haven't heard many lutes in the past year or so. Getting back into this one, dude. Wow, wow, wow. Another quick pause. Dude, the syncopation there was crazy. It's definitely giving so much Rush vibes, dude. But still so much weird. It's like if Rush mixed with Pink Floyd a little bit here. Dude, the song is crazy. So eerie. The atmosphere building here is nuts, dude. We're almost 2/3 of the way through the song. Let's just get back into this, dude. Dude, another quick pause. Also, I just want to shout out Alan White on drums, dude. That last section, Alan White is killing it on percussion, dude. And now we're getting a little bit of Steve Howe in this gorgeous guitar, dude. Wow. I just wanted to give a shout out to Alan White, dude. He's doing a great job. You would say like King Crimson around this time too? Okay. Dude, we need to definitely get more into King Crimson. We've stayed away from them because YouTube doesn't like when we upload videos, but we should still revisit them, dude. Now that we're on Twitch.
Do the leaves of green stay greener through the autumn? Does the color of the sun turn crimson white? Does a shadow come between us in the winter? Is the movement really light? And I heard a million voices singing, acting to the stories that they had heard about. Does one child know the secret and can say it? Or does it all come out alone without you? Alone without you. Alone without you. Where does reason stop and killing just take over? Does a lamb cry out before we shoot to death? Are there many more in comfort, understanding? Is the movement in the head? And I heard a million voices singing, acting to the story that they had heard about. Does one child
Mm. Oh my god, dude. The ancient slash giants under the sun. Definitely Steve Howe's song here, dude. Well, there was a lot for everybody here, but I think Steve Howe stole the show for me. John Anderson's voice, though, close second. Yeah, this is crazy. Alan White had a lot of cool sections. Dude, this song was all over the place again. That intro, wild. Percussion-wise, what was it, dude? Were they hitting the springs on their cymbals, dude? What? What could have made that noise? It sounded like they were hitting like just straight up springs, dude, with the drumsticks. Beautiful guitar work, dude. A little bit of mysteriousness added into the vibe of the guitars, dude. That ending, the amount of reverb, dude. Just those like top two strings on the guitar. Bring, bring, ding. It was so piercing, dude. Great song. Great song, dude. A lot of cool moments. Full of cool moments. Wow, dude. So some of these sections of lyrics make some sense when you just like isolate them, right? Why does reason stop and killing just take over? Does a lamb cry before we shoot it dead? Are there many more in comfort understanding? Is the movement in the head? I'm not actually sure what those last two lines mean. Are there many more in comfort understanding? Seems to be asking some tough questions to humanity. You know, most of this album seems to be like a societal kind of either call to action, trying to invigorate people to kind of search for their own pathway in life, you know, calling out maybe the way people are so lax. I don't know. So the flowering creativity of life wove its web face to face with the shallow, and their gods sought out and conquered. Ah, Kin, which means priest of the sun in Yucatec Mayan. Seriously, shout out to John Anderson for doing a lot of research on these lyrics, dude. Like, he had to figure out how to say the word sun in like 10 different languages. So real quick, go into the wiki. I want to see. Yeah, most of these are John Anderson. The Remembering, apparently. Lots of people worked on the lyrics. Yeah, mostly it's John Anderson. Well, that was them at their most experimental. Damn. Yeah, no, I feel it, dude. This song was crazy. This was a big one. It felt very large, even though it's the shortest one of the four. Wow, I really enjoyed the instrumental section on this one too. There were multiple instrumental sections. Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun with this one. Kind of throwing this one up between the revealing science of God and the ancient slash giant under the sun. I'm thinking it's the ancient giant under the sun is my favorite so far. But let's see how they close it off, dude, with the last track, dude, coming up. The name is Ritual. Nous sommes du soleil. Nous sommes du soleil. Soleil. Like Cirque du Soleil, dude. Well, I'm gonna search up that phrase, dude. What is Nous sommes du soleil? I think Genius will be able to tell us, actually. Yes, what's the actual title? Ritual. So I don't know that much French. Nous sommes du soleil. This translates from French to English as we are from the sun. Okay, yeah, a lot of sun worship going on in this, dude. And honestly, fair. Sun, it's there. We can see it, right? Makes sense to worship it. Pretty sure. Actually, I don't know if we can tell if it's a living being. I don't know if it is, but if anybody figures that out, then the song will go even harder, dude. I will reorient my religious thoughts to believe that the sun is alive if people figure out that it is, dude. Right now, all I'm thinking it's a ball of gas, dude. It's a big ball of gas, which is very powerful and is a lot of the reason why we are living here, dude. So it makes a lot of sense to worship the sun. I love the sun. Sometimes it can get a little hot though. So sometimes the sun needs to chill out, dude. Tales from Topographic Oceans, dude. Wow. Okay, so I'm still not really connecting Topographic Oceans to the themes I'm hearing so far. Maybe Topographic Oceans somehow connected visually as like a symbolic metaphor for the mind. Topographic Oceans maybe means the mind. Perhaps we'll get some enlightenment from this last track. Let me know how you guys are feeling so far. We're going to take another couple of hits before we jump on into this last one, dude. The song is Ritual. Nous sommes du soleil. I've heard it was the grooves on the brain's surface. Oh. Yeah, you know, maybe we will read a bit more. We're going to go back after we finish the song and read more of the wiki here. Because we didn't read a lot, dude. We didn't read about the recording, the rehearsals, dude, the conception of like the background and writing. We just kind of read the little overview, first few paragraphs from the wiki. So yeah, we're going to go back and read a little bit about the conception, dude, like the nitty gritty. And maybe we'll find a reason for the name. John Anderson's voice is so beautiful though. Like, honestly, even though his head's getting up in the clouds a little bit here, and you know, practice your religion. Do whatever you want, dude. I admit I am a little condescending by using that phrase "up in the clouds," dude, but that's my point of view, and I'm sorry. Dude, honestly, I'm down to just let John Anderson just keep on going with this, even if it does get so esoteric. I have no idea what's happening. I still love his voice and love the work the musicians are doing, dude. Hey, they were a bunch of stoned hippies. Yeah, dude, you know, when you're a stoned hippie, your mind does tend to wander into great places that you never thought would. That makes sense. All right, let's take another hit. Jump on into the last song, dude. Ritual, Nous sommes du soleil. Jumping on in, dude. Ooh, what the heck is going on, dude? Ooh, the bass. Oh. 4 minutes in and this, dude, quick pause, dude. 4 minutes in and this is already the craziest song to me. This is probably the most fun. It's my favorite so far. That intro is just so fun. I just love the, the scatting. Is that what, can that be called scatting? It's just like singing, just like la la la, I don't know if that's, it's no actual lyrics, it's just singing for the sake of it. Scatting is more like the rap version of that, I guess. So, or the jazz version. I don't know. If there's a name for that, just let me know. But let's just get back into this. This is so much fun. Ritual, Nous sommes du soleil. Chunky bass. Dude, that transition. What's up, Goddess Ravina? Welcome. How are you doing? Glad to have you. We're listening to Yes, finishing up the album, Tales from Topographic Oceans. How are you doing? What kind of music are you into, Goddess? Wow, listen to this, though, dude. Beautiful bass, beautiful vocals, that transition. Let's listen to that transition one more time. electric sitar, dude.
That seems like a
Dude, real quick. You hear Steve Howe playing that electric sitar, dude? It's pretty noticeable. I think that's really cool, dude. It has a nice pluckiness to it. Oh, I just love the sitar so much. Yeah, this song definitely my favorite out of the bunch. It's so fun. Backing it up just a little bit, getting back on in, dude.
Maybe I'll just sing a while and then give you a call. Maybe I'll just say hello and say maybe that's all. Hurry home, as love is true, will help us through the night. Till we're coming home again, and that seems like a as we look and use the passions that flow, as we try, we continue. We receive all we venture to give. Maybe we'll just stand a while. Surely we can go. Dreams are set to blossom courage, constant to the soul. Change we must as surely time does. Changes call the course. Held inside the empty daybreaks, asking for the source, the source. And as we sing, our music's total retain as we try and consider. We receive all we venture to give. All we say is the soul constant inside listener. We won't tender our song nearer till we sail, that I will be as feeling companions shall want to be near you. They move around, tell me that over and surely sing, as they don't seem to matter at all,
Okay, quick pause. Halfway through, and we're getting a nice little interlude. Wow, they really do pace their songs kind of perfectly, right? It does. Each song feels like a movie. Like this is probably written in a different modes, right? Something like Lydian. Beautiful. I like this one lyric going back up real quick. We won't tender our song clearer. Maybe that's a little jab at people like me who try and look for clear meaning in lyrics. So I think that's funny. I think that's fair, right? Just got to think a little bit about what the meaning is. And honestly, like I said, I'm down to just let John Anderson just keep on going with the esoteric writing. Just, I'm enjoying this. Wow. Great bass line so far. This one sounds and feels like the most normal song-ish out of all of them so far. This feels kind of like maybe like a nice R&B track, dude. Nice, soft, smooth rock kind of feel to this one. It's poetry. It is very beautiful poetry. Like I said, even if I don't really understand it, it's still fun to go along each moment to moment. Just live in the moment of each lyric, and it's just fun. Backing it up, getting back into this, dude. Ritual Nous sommes du soleil by Yes. Whistle. What's it? What the fuck? Dude, you said the last song was their most experimental? What the hell are we in? We're in a horror movie now. What? Dude, this is... Was not expecting anything like this. What the heck is happening? Wow. Okay, dudes. Frightening. Straight up just jarring. Wow. Okay, yeah. Let's get back into this, dude. We're in the home stretch. It's the last little bit of the song. What is happening? Thank you. We're free. Steve Howe is here to save us. Wow.
Hold me, my love, hold me today, call me round. Travel we say, wander we choose, love to. Lay upon me, hold me around, lasting hours. We love when we play. We hear the sound, and all to our returning. We drift the shadows, course our way back home. Flying home, going Look me, my love, sentences move dancing away. We join, we receive as our song, memories long hoping away. The song, the silent, hold me around, lasting hours. We love when we play. The song, the silent. sommes de
Dude. I'm not ready for it to be over, dude. Honestly, this song was beautiful. God dang, dude. Beautiful song. That ending. John's voice so soft. The instrumentation was so soft. Profound. Honestly, so much of this just was so much bigger than I imagined it could have been, dude. This is a very large conceptual piece, dude, that takes a lot of effort to... Oh, I don't even know how to explain, dude. This is one of the big pieces of art of our lifetime, dude. Like how Toshiba described it is very much like a painting, but not exactly the way you described it. It is such a profound piece of art that it's hard to put into words, dude. The adventure, dude, the journey, the bravery required to go into this unknown land. Dude, this is 1973. Dude, we've had psychedelic music. We've had adventurous music before, right? But dude, this is like taking it to the next level, dude. Each track, 4 tracks, 20 minutes each. Dude, each track, a journey. Dude, I would not be surprised if this is the first band to do this, right? This type of album, this type of concept, dude, because it's hard to just call this an album. It's hard to call this these songs. You know what I mean? Your appreciation would likely grow with repeated listenings too. Yeah, no doubt, dude. I'm gonna remember these emotions, dude. I felt myself like well up, dude. I felt almost tears come during the last bit of the song there. Ritual. Nous sommes do soleil, dude. My pronunciation's just trash right now, but let me just take these off for a second, dude. That'll help. Oh, wow, dudes. Oh gosh, there were so many instances, dude. What was up with this song, dude? At one point, it sounded like we were using kitchen tableware, dude, to make the music. This song, to me, was the most experimental of the album, dude. Like, what the heck was that terrifying sequence with the percussion there, dude? Whoa, I loved it. Like, even though I was thanking Steve Howe for kind of coming to our rescue in a sense, right? He came in with the solo, with the soft, heroic-esque guitar, dude. And that's when the heavy drums kind of faded out and the horror movie vibe left, dude. What? And yeah, I know I had some issues in the second song, dude. The Remembering. Yeah, I think The Remembering was the lowest point for me, but it was still a great track. The ending really picked it up, dude. And I admit sometimes I have bad tendencies where I tend to not enjoy the slower pace of music sometimes, and I think that's all it was, dude. It was very atmosphere building. I think this album did need a slower moment, a slower section at least, to really emphasize the epicness of it all, right? The fact that they can do all ends of the spectrum in this one album. We had so much. From, yeah, a horror movie to being so optimistic and happy that we are children of the sun, to learning your way in life. Dude, so many themes without actually like being very, very clear, dude. To me, at least. Once I knew the context of how this album was created, dude. Well, actually, we're going to read more about that. So, let's maybe save some of those thoughts. But, dudes, first initial thoughts finishing the album is instant classic. I'm so glad it was weird. I'm so glad this is here, that this is existing, dude. We need weird art. We need weird experimental stuff. Even if I didn't like enjoy every single moment of this, dude, I enjoyed 85%. And that's just because I have weird tastes sometimes, and I realize it's a fault sometimes. And they decorated the studio to look like a farm. Dude, what? I keep forgetting about that. Why? There were parts of this that gave some farm-esque, dude, some like slide guitar moments, gave us some Southern America. And farms aren't American inherently, so that's a bit of my Western-centric brain. There's lots of different farms, dude. The world was raised on farms. So that's wild, dude. That in itself is wild. Are there pictures? Are there pictures from that, dude? Yes. Farm studio. No, it doesn't seem like, we'll probably be able to find it once we read a bit more. So yeah, let's go into the wiki. Let's read about the background and writing, dude. The conception by 1973, Yes had established with a lineup of frontman and lead vocalist John Anderson, bassist Chris Squire, guitarist Steve Howe, keyboardist Rick Wakeman, and drummer Alan White, who had replaced original drummer Bill Bruford in the previous year. Dude, Rick Wakeman not being a fan of this sound is still so funny, yet still sad to me, dude. Like, I totally feel the profoundness of what John Anderson wants out of their sound, dude. They want to touch the souls of people, dude. They want to reach to higher heights than just pop music. I feel like they had a great mix here, though, of between like really enjoyable pop inspired sections, dude, taking us back to something from like Fragile. I had a lot of like roundabout vibes from this at points, dude. So goodbye Bill Bruford, hello Alan White, who did amazing, dude. Give it up for Alan White, dude. First time with Yes. Everybody loved this album, and the band toured worldwide to support the album between July 1972 and April 1973. Wow, dude. They were touring for almost a whole year. Anderson had begun searching for ideas for their next album during this time, one of which involved a large-scale composition, as the group were writing successful long-form pieces, including the 18-minute Close to the Edge. While in his hotel room in Tokyo, during the Japanese tour in March 1973, Anderson found himself caught up in a lengthy footnote in Autobiography of a Yogi, by Paramahansa Yogananda, which outlines 4 bodies of Hindu text named Shastras. Yogananda described them as comprehensive treatises that cover every aspect of religious and social life and the fields of law, medicine, architecture, art. Okay, so really connecting this way of thought and living life into every aspect of life, dude. So it's really easy to connect everything. That convey profound truths under a veil of detailed symbolism. Okay. Honestly, yeah, that's what I got, dude. Definitely a lot of profound thoughts and ideas in this. Sorry, guys. Like, this is 73, right? So a lot of these ideas are probably new to a lot of people also listening to this stuff for the first time. Anderson became engrossed with the idea of a 4-part epic concept album based on the 4 texts, though he later admitted that he only had a basic understanding of them. King Crimson drummer and percussionist Jamie Muir recommended Yogananda's book to Anderson at Bruford's wedding reception earlier in the month. Oh, that's cool, dude. They were actually friends then. Like, they all hung out. Gotcha. Bruford's wedding, huh? And also, this is cool, dude. Jamie Muir was also into this stuff, dude. Anderson said of Muir, I felt I had to learn from him. We started talking about meditation and music, not the guru type, but some really heavy stuff. Anderson gained further clarification of the texts from talking to Vera Stanley Alder, a mystic, painter, and author of spirituality books that had a profound influence on him. The 1973 BBC documentary series, The Ascent of Man, also gave Anderson a lot to think about and was influenced by host Jacob Bronowski's explanations of Earth, the solar system, and human knowledge and truth. Damn. So yeah. Lots of people getting real metaphysical, getting real in their thoughts about meaning of life. And, personally, I thought about this stuff when I was younger, but dudes, I found you can get just really into yourself. You can get really selfish. You can get really just, like I called it earlier, up in the air, dude. Like, I don't know. It's just not for me. It's just not for me. I prefer to be more realistic, grounded, and I don't know. I like to be more in control of my life. And not saying that this doesn't give people control. This probably gives people so much control, Um, but I digress, dude. Yeah, I just don't think it is a for me, dude. I'm chill. I'm being my grounded self, So I totally understand. This is a different time. What was this 50 years ago, dude? People didn't have as much like information readily available. So I get it. Reading on. Yes, moved on to Australia and the US in April 1973, during which Anderson pitched his idea to Howe, a prolific songwriter and arranger in the group, who took an interest in building on Anderson's concept. The pair held writing sessions in their hotel rooms, lit by candlelight, exchanging musical and lyrical ideas. Howe recalled, John would say to me, "What have you got that's a bit like that?" So I'd play him something and he'd go, "That's great, have you got anything else?" And I'd play him another tune. One riff that Howe played was initially discarded, but it was later incorporated into side 3, as by then the two sought for a different theme that would suit the track. Howe looked back on this time as a golden opportunity for Anderson and himself to explore the outer reaches of our possibilities. Wow. Just commenting on that real quick, I think it's a great place to get real into your thoughts, right? When you're doing painting, music, lots of art benefits from getting lost in your thoughts. So, like, I totally get it, dude. I totally get it. This is a crazy piece of art, this whole album. So I'm glad they really spent a lot of time just going over things, riffs, sounds, dude. And were kind of critical with what they did include, dude. A 6-hour session in Savannah, Georgia that ended at 7 a.m. saw Anderson and Howe complete the outline of the album's vocals, lyrics, and instrumentation, which took the form of one track based on each of the 4 texts. Anderson described the night as magical that left both of us exhilarated for days, dude. Oh, I bet they were a little high, just from being so into the texts, into completing their work, dude. They probably felt real good about themselves, Anderson described the night as magical. Anderson and Howe presented the album's concept to the rest of the band, which was met with some uncertainty. Howe recalled, but John and I did manage to sell the idea. Sometimes we really had to spur the guys on. Dude, it probably was a little hard of a sell, right? Especially to Rick, who we know did not take kindly, right? Phil Carson, then the London senior vice president of Atlantic Records, remembered that during a dinner with Anderson and Nesuhi Ertegun, Anderson was originally going to name the album Tales from Topographic Oceans, Mike. My bad, dude. Topographic Oceans, dude. What is topographic? Dude? He claimed he had invented the word topographic, which he used to depict one of astronomer Fred Hoyle's theories on space. Interesting, topographic. Ertegun informed Anderson that topographic was similar to the word topographic and described its meaning, and Anderson changed the title accordingly. An interview with Eddie Offord and a Melody Maker advert congratulating Yes for winning a readership poll published in August and September 1973, respectively touted the upcoming album as Tales from the Topographic Ocean and Tales from Topographic Oceans. Wakeman jokingly nicknamed the album Tales from Toby's Graphic Go-Kart. Oh, Toby's Graphic Go-Kart, dude. Rick Wakeman with his jokes. He probably did not take it much serious, take it seriously at all. That's hilarious. So, Wakeman really just thought it was hilarious. All right, moving on to the section of rehearsals at Manticore, dude. After touring finished, Yes regrouped at Manticore Studios in Fulham, London, a former cinema bought by fellow progressive rock band Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Whoops. In May 1973, that was continued. They spent 8 weeks rehearsing and developing Anderson and Howe's initial ideas. This resulted in 4 tracks, as Wakeman described. One was about 8 minutes, one was 15, one was 19, and one was 12. But the band had to decide whether to refine them to fit a single album or extend them to make a double. Howe recalled a mutual agreement to make a double, which Wakeman supported, provided that the group could come up with strong enough material. Anderson had gained confidence towards a double from the success of Yes Songs, their first live album released as a triple in May 1973 that contained almost 130 minutes of music. Nice, just like almost this album did, dude. Wakeman described an early musical concept for Tales from Topographic Oceans around the time of its release, whereby its parts could be interchangeable at any time depending on the audience's reaction, thus allowing the band to perform upbeat portions back-to-back and skip the slower sections until a later time in the piece. That is hilarious, dude. That's hilarious. That's for people like me, dude, who sometimes need a little bit more pep in the music, you know what I mean? The problem, however, was putting such a concept on a record. The group agreed to make a double album, but had no ideas at hand to develop, so the 4 tracks were fleshed out through improvisations. Wakeman disagreed with the almost busking free-form thinking approach and the musical padding that resulted, which he thought needed further rehearsal. He felt sections resembled avant-garde jazz rock, and I had nothing to offer. Oh, so he was just out of his element, I guess, huh? He was a little lost, it seemed. Squire recognized a lot of substance to the 4 tracks, but at times they lacked strength, which resulted in an album that was varied and scattered. Despite the uncertainty, Anderson stated in the liner notes, that Squire, Wakeman, and White made important contributions to the music. Dude, you can hear all of that in a lot of the different solo sections that they had each, dude. Anderson looked back at this time and thought the band were on the same page, but disagreements from Wakeman and producer Eddie Offord marked the end of the period of elusive harmony. Oh, that's kind of sad, dude. That they had in the group since Fragile. Yes took a break roughly 1 month into rehearsals, during which Anderson vacated to Marrakesh with his family and wrote lyrics. Wow. Okay, dude. So they took a little bit of a break, giving people some breathing room, some time to think on things. Well, I'm surprised Rick Wakeman decided to come back after that little break. Wow, dudes. So we're starting to feel the tension here. It seems to have started since Fragile, dude. Elusive harmony. So moving on to the recording section, and I think this might be the last little bit, or no, we'll read on the songs too. There's another song section in this. So let me get some water. Wow, dude. Heavy album. Oh, I don't have water in my thing. Tea, dude. Unsweetened tea. Sometimes you gotta go unsweetened. So, reading the recording section, dude. The group were split in deciding where to record. Anderson and Wakeman wanted to retreat in the countryside, while Squire and Howe preferred to stay in London, leaving White, who was indifferent, as the tie-breaking vote. Oosh, you know, those decisions usually can help split a group, right? Toshiba, I like your research, and the band goes on and on and on from here. What do you mean exactly about, and the band goes on and on? Like, just kind of evolve from this, dude? Anderson wanted to record at night under a tent in a forest with electrical generators buried into the ground so they would be inaudible. Electric generators, yeah, those things are loud, right? He wanted to bury, dude. John Anderson. Okay, dude, he's an artist. You let him cook, dude. Let him cook. Okay, it might be weird. Wow, dude. At night under a tent in a forest. But when I suggested that, they all said, "John, get a life." Oh, okay. Oh, that's a little sad. I get it, dude. You wanna really explore the intricate recesses of your brain, so you gotta get weird. You gotta surround yourself, dude. You gotta make your studio a farm, dude. Rick leaving didn't stop them, or when other members leave. They still go on to today. I'm really happy, dude. Honestly, I'm really happy that it didn't stop John Anderson from, yeah, getting weird, you know? John, get a life. Yes, we're joined by Offord, their engineer and producer who had worked with the band since 1970 and mixed their sound on tour. He pushed their manager, Brian Lane, to record in the country, thinking some flowers and trees would lessen the tension that the album was creating within the group. Yes, were swayed to remain in London, but wanted to avoid the familiar surroundings of Ad Vision Studios in Fitzrovia, so they chose to record at Morgan Studios in Willesden, as it housed a 3M M79, Britain's first 24-track tape machine, which presented greater possibilities in the studio. Yes, dude, imagine being able to layer 24 times. That's unheard of at the time, right? Most people were doing 8 or 12, right? Or 16, I actually don't know what the popular tracks were for the time. Despite the advantage, the machine malfunctioned often and required periods of downtime for repairs. Oh, that's a shame, dude. Squire worked in the studio for as long as 16-hour days, 7 days a week. Wow, you're really putting his soul into this, dude. Yeah, you can feel that bass, dude. The bass was thick, dude. I'm really glad to have a Squire hanging out right behind us, dude. Okay, well, thank you for putting so much of your work into this. Even though the machine was breaking down, that's terrible, dude. In July 1973, yes, settled into Studio 3 at Morgan for a period of 10 weeks. Lane and Anderson proceeded to decorate the studio to resemble a farm. Squire believed Lane did so as a joke on Anderson as his tent idea was shut down. Anderson brought in flowers, pots of greenery, and cut out cows and sheep. White picket fences were placed around Wakeman's keyboards, with amplifiers placed on stacks of hay. This is just so funny, dude. The little details, hilarious, dude. Hay cutouts of, dude. It's like a play of some sort. When Black Sabbath moved into Studio 4 to record Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, singer Ozzy Osbourne visited and recalled a model cow with electronic udders and a small barn in the corner, like a kid's plaything, dude. Electronic udders. Dude, that's way more than just a cutout. How much did that thing cost? Offord remembered the cows being covered in graffiti and the plants dying halfway through the recording. Quoting, that just kind of sums up that whole album. Dude. Oh my gosh. Dude, honestly, I don't know. I don't think it's worth it to put so much so much effort into the non-musical parts of the album making, dude. Like, I get it, right? You want to create your atmosphere, your environment, dude, but it comes at a detriment sometimes, you know? One time during recording, Anderson wanted to replicate the sound he heard while singing in the bathroom and asked lighting engineer Michael Tate to build him a 3-sided tiled booth for him to sing in. Despite Tate explaining how the idea would not work, he built one using plywood and glued tiles on the inside. Sound engineer Nigel Luby recalled tiles falling off the box during takes. Wakeman distanced himself from the band as recording went on and spent most of his time drinking and playing darts in the studio bar. Dude, he's probably just trying to be like a serious musician, and like he's probably not into all this avant-garde thinking and getting into religion and stuff, dude. Yeah, you know, building a tiled booth, dude. You're the artist, dude. One time during recording, sound engineer Nigel, the tiles were falling off during takes. Osbourne befriended Wakeman and remembered Wakeman was bored out of his mind and invited him to play the synth on Sabra Cadabra. Wakeman would not accept money for his contribution, so the band paid him in beer. While talking to reporter Chris Welch in August 1973, Anderson dispelled rumors that someone was quitting the band and that a difference of opinion from an unnamed member had been resolved. Yes spent 1 week putting down the backing tracks for each of the 4 songs, after which they worked on the overdubs. Howe said a considerable amount of time was spent on both tasks, and took turns with Anderson to lead and convince the other members when they questioned him if the arrangements were going to work. Anderson recalled a near-disaster situation with the finished tapes. After working through the night with Offord to complete the last mix, the pair left Morgan at dawn and Offord placed the tapes on the roof of his car to find the keys. He proceeded to drive off, forgetting about the tapes. They stopped the car to find the tapes had fallen onto the road, and Anderson rushed back to save them from an oncoming bus. The tapes were unharmed from the incident. Yes had spent 5 months arranging, rehearsing, and recording Tales from Topographic Oceans, and their time spent in Morgan amounted to £90,000 in studio costs, dude. Or is that euros? That's euros. In studio costs. Wow. Wow. That was a near disaster. The tapes, dude. The last mix. Wow. That's super scary. I'm so happy they were able to save him. They remember. They were like, oh shit, dude. Stop the car. Stop the bus, dude. That's crazy. This whole album is just crazy, dude. Black Sabbath, dude. Ozzy showing up. Paying him in beer, dude. Rick Wakeman not feeling any of this, dude. I'm surprised he stuck around for the whole deal. Dude, I'm on the fence, dude. I really appreciate when artists really try and create their own atmosphere, but there's a time when it becomes to the detriment of the relationships. You know, it's like, oh, it's hard. It's hard, dude. I'm on John's side. I'm on everybody else's side as well. Like, making people build a tile booth that didn't even work out. I get it though, dude. That's your vision. And the album did well, dude. I'm also guessing in the second to last song. No, I think it was actually the last track, dude. Ritual. We had a lot of tile sounds. I'm guessing some of those might have been tile sounds. I called it kitchenware sound effects, dude. Sounds like people were like sliding plates over. Might have been tiles, dude. All right. Gonna read the last bit of this, dude. Talking about the songs of the album, dude. The album contains 4 tracks, or movements, as described by Anderson, that range between 18 and 21 minutes. All band members are credited for composing the music. Anderson provided a short description of how the album came together and how its concept is expressed in a musical sense in each track in the album's liner notes. The original LP lists Anderson and Howe as co-writers of the lyrics, but the 2003 reissue lists Squire as an additional co-author for The Ancient, and Squire, Wakeman, and White as additional co-authors for The Remembering. Gotcha, okay. So, giving more credit where credit's due. Gotcha. The Revealing Science of God, Dance of the Dawn, is based on the Shruti, which Yogananda described as scriptures that are directly heard or revealed, in particular the Vedas. I'm a little lost, dude. Regarding its title, Anderson said, "It's always delicate to start talking about religious things. It should have just been The Revealing, but I got sort of hip." So he extended the title, dude, with The Revealing Science of God. The track was originally 28 minutes long, but 6 minutes were cut due to the time constraints of a record. Anderson was inspired to open the track with voices that gradually build from listening to Gregorian chants, and used the Vietnam War as the source for its lyrics. Okay, there were some anti-war sentiments, dude. Howe plays a Gibson ES345, and his solos were influenced by his belief that Frank Zappa performed lengthy solos because the audience wanted it. "I was thinking at one stage, I'll do that, they'll love it." Quoted from Steve Howe. Dude, I mentioned how the song felt a little Frank Zappa-esque, dude. Oh, love that, dude. The Young Christians See It section originated from an unused take from the Fragile sessions, a take from which was released as a bonus track in 2015 as All Fighters Past. White recalled the group spent around 6 days mixing the track, The Revealing Science of God. The 2003 CD reissue of the album includes a previously unreleased 2-minute introduction. Wow, okay, so maybe that's what we listened to. We listened to a little bit of the introduction there, dude. Okay, The Young Christians See It. It's taken from an older song. Awesome, from the Fragile sessions. Awesome. Okay, moving on, dude. The Remembering, High the Memory, relates to the Smriti texts, literally meaning that which is remembered. Yogananda wrote the Smritis were written down in a remote past as the world's longest epic poems. specifically the Mahabharata and Ramayana. Anderson described it as a calm sea of music and wanted the band to play like the sea with rhythms, eddies, swells, and undercurrents of sound. The track includes a keyboard solo that Anderson wrote, brings alive the ebb and flow and depth of our mind's eye, and rated it as one of Wakeman's best. Squire played a fretless guild bass and described his performance as one of the nicest things he has done, and ranked it higher than his playing on more popular songs. Wow, fretless bass, dude. I love the sound of a fretless bass. When played by a person who knows how to. He considered the track was particularly successful in its arrangement. White came up with the chord bases of a section on a guitar, which he does not play confidently, but Anderson recognized his tune and told him to repeat it until he could grasp his idea. Howe plays a Dan electric sitar, lute, and acoustic guitar. Gotcha, dude. I heard that lute. A Dan electric sitar, dude. Okay, so Dan Electro is the brand. Gotcha. Wow. So this song's really getting into the oceans theme, right? Moving on, dude. The ancient Giants Under the Sun is attributed to the Puranas, meaning of ancient times, which contain 18 ancient allegories. Steve's guitar, wrote Anderson, is pivotal in sharpening reflection on the beauties and treasures of lost civilizations. Whoa, dude, if you say so. The lyrics contain several translations of the word sun, or an explanation of the sun from various languages. Howe felt the opening section amazes him to this day, thinking how the band could go so far out. He plays a steel guitar and a Spanish Ramirez acoustic guitar, and described it quite Stravinsky, quite folky. I don't know if I've listened to any Stravinsky, dude. To help achieve the right sound he wanted out of his guitars, Howe played several recordings by classical guitarist Julian Bream to Oford as a guide. The track ends with an acoustic-based song which later became known as Leaves of Green. White used a hollowed-out log and brushes on an aluminum sheet as percussion. Dude, whoa. Whoa. A hollowed-out log and brushes on an aluminum sheet, dude. That is really cool. You know, I was wondering what was going on with some of the percussion, dude. So that was a really cool song, dude. The ancient Giants Under the Sun, they're craziest up until that point, but dude, I'm really excited to learn about what ritual Nous Sommes du Soleil has for us in terms of like instruments used, dude. So fantastic stuff. Ritual Nous Sommes du Soleil relates to the tantras, literally meaning rites or rituals. Anderson described its bass and drum solos as a presentation of the fight and struggle that life presents between sources of evil and pure love. Howe is particularly fond of his guitar solo at the beginning, which to him was spine-chilling and heavenly to play, and uses a Gibson Les Paul Jr. He wrote the chords and some lyrics to the Life is Like a Fight section. His outro guitar solo was more improvised and jazz-oriented at first, but the rest of the group felt dissatisfied with the arrangement. Anderson suggested that Howe pick several themes from the album and combine them, which Howe did with a more concise, more thematic approach. Gotcha, okay. Okay, that's cool to learn, dude. During one of Wakeman's absences from the studio, White came up with the piano sequence for the closing Nous Sommes du Soleil section. Okay, so I thought that was Wakeman, but no, that's Alan White coming up with that one. The second half contains a percussion jam that features the main melody played on the drums. Oh, wow, okay. Don't think I realized that, dude. White, who played a standard kit, taught the sequence to the other members, with Anderson on a cocktail kit and Squire on timpani. Howe, despite participating on the drum solo on stage early on, opted out as it affected his guitar playing afterward. Yeah, dude. So Whoa. On stage, Hal was like, I'm doing the drum solo, guys, but started hurting him. Gotcha. Gotta preserve what you're good at, right? Wow, dudes. Yeah, so the album was finished in the first week of November 1973 and aired on British radio several times before its release in stores. It was set for broadcast on David Jensen's show on Radio Luxembourg on 8th of November, but according to Anderson, the radio station somehow received blank tapes, resulting in dead air after the album was introduced. What? What a blunder, dude. Two more radio broadcasts followed. One on Your Mother Wouldn't Like It, hosted by Nicky Horn on Capital Radio on November 9th, and on Rock On Radio 1. Rock On Radio 1, with Pete Drummond on BBC Radio 1 the following day. A listening session was held at Morgan, which studio engineer and manager Roger Quested attended and remembered rows of seats laid out by a set of speakers before the whole album was played. All but the diehard had drifted away before it had finished. Radio consultant Lee Abrams recalled the risk and difficulty in getting the album played on American radio, with many stations playing The Revealing Science of God, and primarily at night hours. So some stations would only play the first song, and only at night. So they were not excited because these songs were long and a little weird, I'm guessing, dude. Yo, what is up, Klaus? Dude. Yo. Glad you could join us, dude. Unfortunately, we did just finish and we're reading about the release. So hopefully you can check this out maybe on Patreon, or I don't know if you can rewind on Twitch, but glad you're here, dude. Yeah, no, this is because I like going on album discography journeys, and it's been a while since we did our last Yes album, so we're trying to continue this going, dude. Yeah, Toshiba's been a big fan of these. Yeah, glad if you can join us, Klaus. So reading on the last little bit of this, dude, the album was released December 7th, 1973, followed by its North American release on January 9th, 1974. It was a commercial success for the group, following a change in industry regulations by the British phonographic industry for albums to qualify for gold disc in April 1973. The album became the first UK record to reach gold certification based on pre-orders alone, after 75,000 orders were made. Wow. So before the album even comes out, dude, the album's gold. That's crazy. First ever, dude. First UK record to do that. It was number 1 on the UK album chart for 2 consecutive weeks and peaked at number 6 on the US Billboard Top LPs chart. The album was certified gold in the UK on March 1st, 1974, and the US on 8th of February, 1974. The latter for surpassing 500,000 copies, dude. Gotcha, dude. So, dude, there's actually a little bit more to read because there's the reception, dude. People seemed to really like this at first. People really call it a masterpiece, fragmented, brilliant in patches, but often taking far too long to make its various points. It was really just that one song. I think I agree with that. But just in the remembering, the little bit of downtime, dude, it was, like I mentioned, and I think a lot of people maybe share the sentiment, dude. It's a little hard to get through some less invigorating sequences of a tune. You know what I mean? John, I'll hang for a while. Great taste in music is always nice. Thank you so much, Klaus. Dude. Appreciate you. Yeah, dude. I hope you can get to check it out. You know, I might make this just a free one for the Patreon people. So if you want to go check this out, just I'll post this for free on the Patreon, dude, so everybody can check it out, right? Okay, so continuing reading, dude. So album received mixed reviews in America. Abrams thought it could have received better marketing and suggested an experiment in recording as a tagline. Okay, yeah. That is a good tagline, right? Experiment in recording. Record World magazine considered it by far the most progressive album to date and displays the talents of each band member well, particularly Wakeman's, dude. His keyboard work was amazing. And yeah, dude, remember, this is 1973, dude. So the world is going through a lot of changes by this point. A review in Billboard said the four sides produced mixed results, with Anderson's weighty spiritual concept having indigestible lyrics that are fortunately outplayed by the band's rich, sweeping playing. Dude. I did share some of those sentiments. Dude, yeah, you know, I get the overall meaning and love for humanity in this, though. Like, I get it, dude. While I don't share the thoughts that John Anderson is thinking, dude, I get it. But if you don't know what inspired this, then you are kind of lost. It is kind of hard. Some people need comprehensible lyrics to get into a song, dude. Not everybody likes working hard to enjoy the meaning of a song. And some people need a meaning to a song. Some people need it. Not everybody, right? Some people love the instrumentation, love the effects the instruments and music have on the body. So yeah, it's not a surprise. People were feeling this way, right? I expressed this. Praise. So people love the instrumentation. Wakeman's keyboards were praised. It concluded with Ritual as the most complete track. In his negative review for Rolling Stone, Gordon Fletcher described the record as psychedelic doodles and thought it suffers from over-elaboration, compared to more successful songs on Fragile and Close to the Edge. He complained about the album's length, Hal's guitar solos on The Ancient, and the percussion section on Ritual. It seems this dude just is into prog, but praised Wakeman for his stellar performance throughout and believed the keyboardist was the most human of the group. Dude. So clearly this person shares a lot of the sentiments that Rick Wakeman shares, dude. Not a fan of the up in the air-ness, dude. Fletcher singled out the acoustic guitar section from The Ancient as the album's high point. Cashbox magazine praised the album with its spectacular cuts, making a phenomenal record, and noted the band are as much in touch with the bright future of their art form as they are with its rich traditional past. Wakeman's inspirational playing was also pointed out, which sparkles throughout the album. It concluded with one of this year's best, without a doubt. In September 1974, Time magazine called it by far the most provocative album of the past year. Right, it's a big discussion, right? Like, some people probably hated this, while some people loved this. It's probably one of those types of albums, right? Divisive, sparking controversy, sparking thought, dude. Sparking conversation. I would have definitely been on the side of this is awesome. This is a masterpiece. Because I like stuff that pushes the boundaries, right? They got close to that edge. And now I think they're falling over the edge, dude. They're over that edge. They're like past the edge. So some of the band members, dude, in January 1974, Squire picked the Yes album and Tales from Topographic Oceans as the two most personally satisfying Yes albums in terms of being captivated. So he really liked the end product of this, dude. In 1984, after Yes had released 90125, skipping ahead a little bit, right? Anderson looked back on Tales from Topographic Oceans as difficult in some respects, but felt it was stupid to even think about defending it. He felt it was stupid to even think about defending it? So he was met with a lot of harsh criticism, it seems, right? And he felt he had to defend the album a lot. So it seems like he's acquiesced a bit, and he's no longer willing to defend the album. Is that what I'm gaining from that, dude? In 1990, he said that he was pleased with 3/4 of the album, with the remaining quarter not quite gelling. But the tight deadline to finish it meant there was little time to make the necessary changes. Squire recalled the album as an unhappy period in the band's history and commented on Anderson's attitude then. John had this visionary idea that you could just walk into a studio, and if the vibes were right, the music would be great at the end of the day. It isn't reality. End quote. Wakeman continues to hold a mostly critical view. In 2006, he clarified that there are some very nice musical moments in Topographic Oceans, but because of the format of how records used to be, we had too much for a single album, but not enough for a double. So we padded it out, and the padding is awful. But there were some beautiful solos like Nous sommes du soleil, one of the most beautiful melodies, and deserved to be developed even more, perhaps. Okay, so interesting. Wakeman was like, we could have developed things a little further. Dude, just overall, not a fan of most of it, it seems. Gotcha. In 2023, Steve Howe stated that the album was, for the band, a time of spreading our wings, a wonderful project where we went to the ends of the earth to do it. There was often a feeling that disaster was almost about to strike, but we got there in the end. You have to account for tales in our history to properly talk about what Yes achieved, because it was quite exceptional. I don't think we'd be the same group without it. Adding that he was still very proud of it and very pleased with it. Quote, Tales is totally epic, and I love it to bits. Wow, dude. Wow, dude. Steve Howe really loving what it means for the group, dude. Really thinking about this in the big picture type of situation, yeah. It seemed like it was filled with turmoil, dude. Like a lot of emotions, dude. A lot of trouble. But the fact that they made it over this bit and they can recall it in a somewhat optimistic way, for the most part, is very nice, dude. The next album is quite wild too. Actually, I'm excited. Is it 90125? What is the next one, dude? No, Relayer. Relayer. So, dudes, I think this video kind of, or this album kind of sums it up for itself, right? It's bigger than what a lot of people were probably ready for. And a lot of people were unsure. Dude, it's scary being adventurous, taking risks, right? John Anderson, very brave, dude. A pioneer of sorts. And most of the band members recall this time fondly. There's so many cool moments in this album, dude. I can't even pick one. And, dude, this was a great journey, even though, dude, it was a little divisive, even on my end, dude. I felt the division. It's still an amazing piece, dude. For, you know, there's a bit of a disconnect between the people, the listeners, and the musicians, right? We don't know about all the trouble they dealt with in the studio, right? We don't know about anything. So we're just given this product and expect, oh, this is sick, dude. So learning about all this is really enlightening. It's really cool. How many of you are learning some of this stuff for the first time too? Wow, I feel attached to these dudes, and I don't even want to imagine the cleanup from all that hay, dude. Hay, they make hay seem really comfy in movies, right? But dude, you ever actually jumped in some hay? It's sticky, dude. It's not soft. You're getting poked and pricked. Well, guys, amazing stuff. Let me know what you guys thought. What's your favorite track from this album? Uh, Final thoughts, dude. I recognize the profoundness of what was happening, dude. 1973, lots of cultures were being mixed, dude. Lots of new information being passed down, dude. John Anderson, just good job, dude. Uh, such a controversial track, dude. Such a controversial album, dude. Wow. If I ever become a big musician, I'm gonna take some notes from John Anderson, dude. Maybe decorate the studio as like a space station or a coffee shop, dude. What would you turn your recording studio into, dude? What's your favorite atmosphere you like to surround yourself with? Dude, that's not even the atmosphere he wanted. He wanted to be in a tent. Dude, he wanted to be in the forest. I think that would have been far less expensive. Actually, I don't know, dude. They would have had to pay for those generators. Uh, I'm glad y'all were able to join us for this one, dudes. Thanks for returning to the yes, dude. Yes, we're gonna try and fit one in next month as well. We're gonna keep this train moving, dude. And also, we're gonna fit in another poll album from people to vote. So we're gonna have more albums coming up, dudes. This was so much fun, dude. This was so much fun. Yes, Tales from Topographic Oceans, dude. Tobergraphic. Tales from Tobergraphic. That just sounds a little silly, right? Well, guys, we've hit the 3 hour mark, so I think it's just how we're gonna close it off for tonight, dude. How we're gonna close off our March, dude, for 2024. Didn't think we'd make it this far, guys. But yeah, we're still here. No stream tomorrow. No stream tomorrow, dude. Taking the day off, and then we'll be back on Monday, dude, for a free request stream. So come and join us for that one, dude. Monday free request stream. I'll make sure to post that, dude. I'll make the schedule too as well for next week. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out, dudes. 'Cause it's time and time for your turn, and this news is captured for the queen to use. Good night, Tammy. Thanks for hanging out. Good night, Toshiba. Roll another one just like the other one. Oh, roll a joint, dude? Dude, okay, we can make it a joint night. Roll another one just like... Oh, are you referencing Klaus's reference, dude? Well, if you find it, don't bogart that cowbell, my friend. Pass it over to me. You've been holding on to it, and I sure would like a hit. Oh, that must be another song, right? I hope everybody has a great Easter, dude. Make sure to let me know how that goes for you on Monday when we come back with the free request nights, dude. Oh, Little Feet. Okay, gotcha, dude. Little Feet reference. You get back into some Little Feet. Missed that hot tomato lady, dude. So how about a ending hit for us, dude? So whoever's here and hanging out, you can take a last hit of the stream and then close it off. Post this one to Patreon, dude, and again, it'll be free, dude. This will be one of the free things we do for the Patreon crew. Actually, the Fraternity of Man. Is that another song I just don't know about, dude? The Fraternity of Men. Oh, a group? Well, I have to check them out sometime, dude. What was your favorite little tidbit of info from this album, dude? Check you in the next one, guys, for a relayer from the next year. Dude, relayer. player, dude. Wait. Oh, we missed out on listening to Yes songs, dude. We gotta listen to Yes songs, dude. Maybe Yes songs will be up next. You know, maybe we'll find a time to listen to some Yes songs, dude. We missed out. We missed out on this one. How many tracks? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Ooh, they play Close to the Edge, dude. Man, they play Roundabouts, dude. Yeah, we gotta check this one out. Yeah, perhaps we'll try and fit that one in next, dude. All right, guys. Well, I'm hungry. I'm gonna go get some food. I hope y'all have a good rest of your night, good rest of your evening. Please drink your water, eat your food, take care of your pets. Maybe one day we can do the whole Little Feat Waiting for Columbus album. Ooh, yeah, dude. I'm totally down. That could be up on the next poll or something, dude. The next poll. I'll think of songs or albums for the next poll. If y'all have ideas, throw them out, dude. Little Feat Waiting for Columbus. Album ideas for April, right? Oh, dude. Oh, I need to think of the April Fool's idea for a video, dude. Okay, how about me reacting to myself, reacting, dude? Oh, that'll be crazy, right? That'll be crazy. I think that's what we're gonna do, something like that, I think. All right. Well, I'll let you guys know what we decide. But all right. So, talk to you guys in the next one. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Yo, going over to twitch.tv/JohnSlopReacts and leave a follow if you want to catch all these live streams where we record all these reactions, dude. And going over to patreon.com/JohnSlop to submit your favorite songs for me to listen to. And you can help support the channel as well. Appreciate ya.